We're back, getting ready to talk more about the modern ban list and our ridiculous no ban list modern top 8 that we're going to watch here in just a moment. Cedric Phillips, Todd Anderson, Matthias Hunt, Ryan Overturf. We're going to argue with each other about more cards like Dark Depths. Sounds like a good place to start, Ryan. There are no wastelands in this format, which means keeping Dark Depths in check is a little difficult, it appears. What do you think? What do you think about that? Can we bring this thing back? Is there any reason to?
Yeah, there's ghost quarters, but your second question, I think, really hits the nail on the head. There's no reason to. Whose experience are you making better by allowing people to make 20/20s for 2, where the opportunity cost is you have a land that doesn't produce mana? You're like, there's nothing that's fun when it's working or when it's not working. It's miserable on either end.
I can agree with that. I don't think there are very many positives to that. I don't think it's great gameplay. I think it's interesting. Like, I'm fine with it being legal in Legacy and like it being like over there with Thespian Stage and Wasteland and all the other nonsense going on in Legacy. I did realize, and I talked to you about this a little, Todd, because you've been doing the Verse video stuff, and Ross and some other people who have been recording videos. There aren't a lot of great ways to interact with it. My chair's going down. There's not a lot of great ways to interact with it.
Wow, you just got really short.
I know. I don't know why that happened, but I'm down here now. There's not a lot of great ways to interact with it. It's live TV. What can you do?
All right. So yes, there's not a lot of great ways to interact with it, but I think over the last few months when we've been playing on the Versus series, we've actually found quite a few ways to do exactly that.
Okay.
One card I suggested to Brian Brown doing to play in his Miracles deck was Repeal.
Sure.
1 mana answer. Yes, they're trying to hit you with discard spells, but you can protect yourself with things like Counterbalance and Sensei's Divining Top, or just Mental Misstep. And then you just have this 1 mana answer that's clean and draws you a card. Plus, it has versatility in other matchups. Okay, that's reasonable. I mean, Repeal. That's when you get really into like the weird parts of the format when you're actively trying to play a card like Repeal, which is kind of cool. It's kind of interesting, and that could work its way into Modern potentially. I feel like, Matthias, the kind of decks that you like to play, Dark Depths kind of hammers, so you'd probably be happy with leaving this banned.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down to not play that against that. I don't like it when my control players like race me. That stinks.
Yeah,
fair enough. I'm gonna have to play something interactive. Like, I don't know. This doesn't sound great.
All right. Well, that one's easy. I think Dark Depths is an auto keep banned. There are 11 Black-Green Depths decks in day 2.
Yeah.
And 2 definitely in the top 8, tied for second most played. Okay, so here's a fun one. There are 7 of this deck. Let me make sure. 8, excuse me, Blue-Red Twin decks. Everyone's clamoring for Splinter. This is the card that most people clamor to come back, a Splinter Twin, because it would solve everything. Oh, you have strong opinions about this.
It's really good at Brent's Primeval Titan, first of all, just always.
Everyone wants it to come back because it's going to solve everything. What do you think about that, Matthias?
So, pushing combo control as your best archetype leads to really poor formats to start out with. You're giving a control deck that can solve all its bad matchups by turn 4ing people. Blue-Red Twin does all of this. It forces people to play cards like Rending Volley. And then so how do you sideboard against combo control? What? You like sideboard in the Rending Volleys and they're like, I'm a control deck, and you just board it in a kill spell, and then they beat you. This deck's great. Look, you're winning on turn 4. There's 8 copies, even in no ban list Modern. Why are we talking about unbanning this card?
Okay.
I don't know.
I think that unbanning Splinter Twin is fine for one reason. Ross Merriam.
Okay, for Daggering Ross, I'm listening now. I was out, and now I'm back in for maybe.
Ross Merriam played Blue-Red Twin in this tournament. I do not believe he won a match.
He played countertop Blue-Red Twin.
Well, I think that's a reasonable... Like, I talked a lot about that in my article 2 weeks ago when I talked about the no ban list Modern format. I think countertop using it as a protection spell and being able to transition more easily into a pure control deck is very good for the archetype. And I'm not suggesting that Sensei's Top and Counterbalance are, fine to bring off the ban list. I think playing against Sensei's Top is miserable. But at the same time, Ross had all these powerful cards in his deck. Dig Through Time, Chrome Mock, Sensei's Top, Counterbalance, Splinter Twin, all these banned cards, Mental Misstep, Ponder Preordained. And it didn't matter, he didn't win a match.
So
I think he didn't win a match because his deck was bad.
The fundamental problem...
He assembled the Splinter Twin combo in time through all the disruption. Cards like Chalice of the Void are too good against the cantrip effects that you desperately need to find your combo and make your deck more consistent. Like, he resolved Dig Through Times multiple times, found the combo, but
don't combo anymore, just find more control cards. Take the Splinter Twin out of your deck.
Ryan, I'm coming to you. Go ahead.
The fundamental problem with Ross's deck actually shines some light on the fundamental misunderstanding a lot of people have about Twin. He put Chrome Mox in his deck.
Yeah.
and he was trying to go too fast, and he played that over Gataxian probe. He could have been looking at people's hands, picking the time when it was right, digging for value when it wasn't right, and just beating people. Instead, he's like, well, I'm going to play this thing that sometimes will land, sometimes it's not, because I have tops and lands in my deck, and I have to pitch half my combo the other half of the time, and not go off because I'm trying to go faster. When the deck was never too good because it won on turn 4, it was too good because it won out of nowhere all the time whenever it wanted to.
I have a story here, so I can take responsibility for the Chrome Moxes. Ross, game before the event, he's like, I want to play Blue-Red Twin. And I was like, okay, it's like, none of this tempo stuff, none of this snapcaster. I want to play all combo. I just want to, 4 Exarchs, 4 Pestermites, 3 Kiki-Jikis, 4 Twins. And he's like, here's my list. And I was like, well, that's what you want to do. You should play Chrome Mox. Get the freeze on him a turn earlier. And he's like, really? And then he thought, it's like, okay, because he's like, day 2, he's like, these Chrome Moxes are terrible. And I was like, I can't believe that they're terrible. He's like, yeah, well, I'm playing countertop Twin now, but they really don't need the extra mana. It's like,
we didn't get
Thanks,
to that.
Ross.
We didn't get to that part.
Right here.
Yeah,
no,
Ross's deck
no,
is
we
terrible.
don't play
It's really
Chrome
the
Mox
most
in a control
important
deck.
thing.
We're
Everybody
fried.
understand? Ross really blew it.
Look, I'm gonna disagree with you on a few fronts. I think that there's probably a Blue-Red Twin deck that gets some artifacts lands into the mix along with Chrome Mox and uses something like Thirst for Knowledge to recoup that card advantage. There was an extended format, years back where, a lot of these blue control decks would play Chrome Mox and they would use these minor incremental advantages like Thirst for Knowledge to regain that card advantage while also keeping up with the speed of the other linear combo decks that they had to play against. And if the Splinter Twin deck has to sacrifice a bit of consistency in favor of speed to keep up with these combo decks, I think that's more than fine. Whether or not Splinter Twin deserves to come off the ban list is a different story. Personally, I think so because it's my favorite deck. And
that's like the best argument. That's the only argument anyone has for it.
fine.
I love
and
Twin.
You know what
That's
everyone
the only
else
reason
in Modern gets to do? Play the deck that they love.
No, because sometimes they love Summer Bloom and that's BS and it gets banned because it's like wrecking everyone else's fun.
Yeah,
It turns
you
out
can-
killing people with your control deck wrecks other
let me
people's
ask you a
fun.
question.
I don't like it.
Can you still play Amulet Primeval Titan in Modern?
I still can.
Yeah,
you can
don't
You can
play
still play
Kiki
Blue
Jiki.
Moon. That's your Blue-Red Twin deck.
Yeah, you can play Kiki-Jiki
Yeah,
Pestermite.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Your deck's just called
Boy,
Blue
there we
Moon.
go. Just deflated that argument. You did it to yourself.
No, whatever.
You did it to yourself.
I'm leaving it be. That's fine.
Splinter Twin, I think we've had enough of Splinter Twin. I think we've had enough of it.
Okay. Next.
Hypergenesis, it's just a no. It's a firm no.
It's
Okay,
interesting, right?
Infest
Because
is what
I
I wanna
don't want it
talk
to
about.
come off
Okay.
the banned list, but at the same time, I watched some people register Hypergenesis for this tournament, and oh man, was it bad.
It's really
Okay.
bad. I think it's bad in this tournament because everyone knows it's coming.
It's like, yeah.
That's why I think it's bad. Everyone has a bunch of chalices. All the Eldrazi decks have chalices. People have various counter spells, and it's like, yeah, I'm not letting you do this dumb thing.
I
You know?
watched a mirror of it. That was pretty fun.
That does not sound like any fun at
I don't
all.
even know what you're supposed to do.
I use it end of turn, so you get to, like with a Violent Outburst, so you get to untap with Emerald.
Yeah, the other guy put Ashen Riders into play. It was nice.
Put in something else this big. I don't know. Play your own Ashen Riders. That's how you win the mirror.
Back in the day, players used to play like Oblivion Rings and stuff like that. I don't know. I think for a weird tournament like this, Hypergenesis is actually like a bad choice, and then you can't unban it because why?
Because there's
why?
no upside.
Yeah, there's no upside to it. So
Either
good, it's miserable.
Either it's the best deck in the format that ruins everyone's day, or it's unplayable.
yeah, there's no reason
There's
to.
no upside.
All right, you want to talk about Infect? It leads me to believe you want to talk about Blazing Shoal?
Yeah, Blazing Shoal being on the ban list is a joke.
Okay.
No.
So there are 7 Infect
What do you
decks in
mean,
day
no?
2.
Do I get to argue with you now?
Go ahead.
Okay, hold
Okay,
on.
that's
Hold
my
on.
argument.
Hold on.
Cheers,
coming up.
LOL,
I'm coming up.
Blazing Shoal.
I'm coming up for this argument. I'm coming up. What is wrong with you?
Tell me why Blazing Shoal's too good.
Why do you want people to die in the second turn of the game?
Oh, I mean, I think you mean most of the time on the third turn, like we just saw Aaron Bears do multiple times, like we just saw people do on camera all weekend with Storm and various other combo decks.
So you want that to happen more?
This is a 3-card combo.
Okay.
That, it can kill on turn 2, but you have to symbol all 3 cards, and your opponent doesn't have or can't have a gut shot.
So now we have to all play Gut Shot.
So now we have to play.
No, you have
or
to have
remove
some piece of interaction. That's all you need.
So I have
You
to,
need
like, turn
some
one-
piece
Okay,
of
hold on.
ghost
Why
warrior.
am I
You can
why
have
am I
a ghost
rushing?
warrior, a
This is
exile,
this
a
is like
lightning
Twin
bolt.
all over again. It's like a little different, but like it's kind of the same thing where it's like I don't have to kill you right away. Like Kevin Jones is playing Mono Blue Infect, yes, with Blight Agents and Inkmoth Nexuses, but he doesn't have to. Actually, Kevin doesn't kill anyone fast because he likes to spin his tires preordating all day.
Yeah.
Which makes my job worse.
But
But that's a different story.
But if I tap out,
Yeah, then you're dead.
Then I'm dead.
Then you're dead. So he's been preordaining and pondering and probing and digging through timing, and then all of a sudden I have a stocked hand, and you can't stop the combo then.
All right, this is a combo deck that can't win the turn it necessarily assembles the combo. You need to be able to attack with it, just like an infect deck. In the scenario where, yes, you're waiting or whatever, you're also getting hit with discard spells. Your opponents can play disruptive things that hit your lands like Inkmoth Nexus. Inkmoth Nexus, I think, is the more egregious of the two, but playing a Blighted Agent is just vulnerable to everything for that turn, and it doesn't have haste. You can't kill them with a Blazing Shoal that turn. I think the ban of Blazing Shoal was a knee-jerk reaction to Sam Black doing so well at the Pro Tour and having so many turn 2 wins on camera because people just weren't prepared for that deck. Now, Jund is a thing. It's not like that was the Wild West. Like, Cloud Post was legal. Splinter Twin was full-powered. Storm could kill you on turn 1 with Rite of Flame. That's the only tournament anyone was ever able to play Blazing Shoal, and then it got banned.
That's true. It did get banned right away. I don't know. I don't see a lot of positives to it being a thing that people can do, I guess would be my bigger issue.
That is a fair argument.
That's my bigger issue.
Upside.
Yeah.
It's either very good or unplayable.
Yeah. I don't see a lot of positives to it. That's what I'll say.
That seems to be a fairly common reason for a thing to be on the ban list.
Yes.
And I think that's lazy.
I don't think it's lazy. I want people to play our game or I have to get a different job. I would like them to be happy playing.
I think the ban list is lazy.
I think it's lazy-ish. I think it's lazy-ish. I will say that. I think it's lazy-ish. Last one I'm going to do really quick, and then we're going to go to our bracket, and we're going to take a short break, get ready, do our bracket, some other stuff. Ryan, mental misstep.
All right, I'm happy this is the one because I wanted to talk about this.
I had a feeling.
Right now in Vintage, Workshops is the best deck. People play blue decks. Because Mental Misstep is legal, you have to play Missteps to compete with the blue decks, and the card's unplayable against the best deck. So you can't make a deck geared to beat the best deck because there's this broken card that just exists, and you lose to everybody else because you have to play it, and you can't not play it, and it's unplayable when you get the one matchup you're going to play 4 times every tournament. And that's what's going to happen in No Banless Modern. You see a lot of Chalice of the Voids in the field. There's no Force of Will legal. Mental Misstep is legal. That makes Chalice a lot better. That's a lot of what would happen in actual Modern if you had just Mental Misstep come off the ban list.
I think that that's probably true. I think it's risky, but I do think it's a point that you brought up during the show earlier, which is Mental Misstep got banned pretty fast, Matthias, and we never got to see players just go like, okay, I won't really play very many 1-drops, I'll play 2-drops or like less 1-drops, stuff like that. I don't know if that's a good way to look at it or not, but we never got to see the evolution.
So here's my take on this. You're right. Mental Misstep is the most powerful card on the Modern ban. This card's insane. Like, you want to design a format where Mental Misstep's a bad Magic card? That sounds like a terrible format to play, where no one plays any 1-mana cards. So, like, great, Eldrazi's really good in this format, because they don't play 1s. But what do? Every other deck, like, you're going to cut all your 1-mana cards? No, everybody has 4 Force of Wills that don't make you pitch. This card's insane. It got banned in every format so quick because on power level, it's the most powerful card of any of the things on that list.
Do you agree?
So, the older a format is, the more likely it is that 1-mana cards are powerful just because of the sheer scope of number of 1-mana cards that exist. In Legacy, we see cards like Brainstorm, Deathrite Shaman, Delver of Secrets taking over the format, not to mention just Dark Ritual, Entomb, all these cards in all these decks specifically have a choke point at 1 mana. I thought Mental Misstep was okay. I played quite a bit of Mental Misstep in Legacy while it was legal, and I never felt like it was anything other than a way to keep the degeneracy in check.
Sure.
Personally. I understand that if you put it in Modern and you combine it with creature-based combos like Splinter Twin and such, it's going to be a way to protect degenerate stuff, and that's not okay. But in Legacy, I felt like it was fine. Yes, it led to some weird stuff. It invalidated entire archetypes. Like, it made Glimpse of Nature a little worse. It made Dark Ritual a little worse. But to me, that's okay.
So maybe there's an argument. So first, I think the card's super powerful, but at the same time, what do you want your format to be about? Do you want it to be about the text on the cards people choose to play, or about the mana costs of cards people choose to play? Because when Mental Misstep is in your format, the cards I choose in my deck don't actually matter anymore. It just matters how much they cost. Whether I'm registering this 1-drop deck or this 1-drop deck, you don't care, you're misstepping it. And suddenly, my choices and my whole experience in the format is just invalid.
I actually disagree. I think that puts an emphasis on like which target you have to choose for mental misstep, because when a lot of the cards, like we already see a lot of homogenous deck building when it comes to like blue decks, for example, that play Ponder, Brainstorm, Preordain, and like misstepping a Ponder just doesn't matter most of the time. And I saw that happen all the time in this no banless Modern tournament because there's no Brainstorm. There aren't that many good 1-mana cards in this format. When you start protecting yourself from things like discard or keeping combo decks from doing their thing, that's when the card starts to become more powerful. When a deck only has a single 1-mana card that matters, and yes, it ruins that deck. I agree with that. But I also think that keeping decks that are degenerate and rely on a busted 1-mana card is okay.
This is just the most powerful card.
It also checks all the decks that are totally fine.
All
casting Thraben Inspector on turn one.
All of them.
In check.
It does check a lot of the fair decks.
It checks just a lot of the decks.
Yeah, it does check a lot of fair decks.
What are you casting?
If your entire deck revolves around the card Ether Vial, that's your fault. Build your deck better.
Yeah, but
If your deck plays 1-mana cards, that's your fault.
That is your fault. That's your fault. Yeah.
Look, you can overload mental misstep the
Should have
same way
played
you can
Eldrazi.
overload
Yeah.
You're the one that
removal spells
registered for a Modern tournament. You deserve to have a bad day.
Yeah, sure.
I think
that plays.
It is an interesting mental misstep is the most powerful card on this ban list. I think objectively that actually might be true. Just looking at the cards, just what they are, I think that might be true. It's an interesting thought experiment that we get to continue in about 20 minutes because our top 8 has been decided, and we will be taking a look at it in just a little bit. I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a short break here in just a moment, and then we will come back. We're going to get this table set up so Todd and I can begin. We're going to take care of the quarterfinals. You two get to do the semis and the finals and have an absolute blast. This format is nonsense, but Magic is meant to be fun sometimes. And we've all got to watch the tournament down there, and it's been a lot of fun. I've talked to a lot of players, and I said this is ridiculous fun. And ridiculous is an important word there, because that's what's going on. But hopefully it'll be a lot of fun for you all to watch here in just a few minutes. So we hope you enjoyed our bickering back and forth, and my chair just having a mind of its own. Because sometimes things just happen. So we take a short break, we come back. Todd and I will start the quarters. Matthias and Ryan will bring us home, crown our 3rd champion of the weekend, and we're going to see a lot of missteps and a whole lot of Eldrazi here in Roanoke in just a bit.